Hello everyone, and welcome to this new video on the Karters 2 workshops tutorial. The last 8 or 9 videos I've made on the Karters 2 workshop modding SDK were made with the 1.031 version of it. So now we are in the 1.07 version, and a lot has been added with it, which is really cool. For example, you can now have some music, you have hazards, you have triggers, and even ground types and things like this, and off-road, which is super cool. I will cover those in future videos. However, for now, I want to cover something I didn't cover in that exists for quite some time now. I didn't cover before, which is the Wool Mesh Collider Spline tool, which can be found in the wiki in track collider setup. It's the nearly end part of it. And the last time I didn't do it because it weren't actually working. I couldn't have it to make it work. And I know this was also the case for other people. However, now it's working. We found a way to have it working, and in fact was something that we forgot and we didn't know. No, we didn't know. We knew. So yeah, I'm going to go on this to be able to show you how to use this. As always, because we are based on the documentation, we're going to follow the wiki. So we'll start on the wiki. So I will recap this first part. You, of course, read it, but globally, the road point creator tool, which permits to have AI paths, can also be used to create some walls. Some very simple walls with different heights. And this is very useful if you need to just block some parts of the map from going out of the road, which is the purpose of the wall, you'll say. So there you go. We're going to start and follow the wiki. So drag and drop road points create a tool into scene. You can see that the location is workshop model into custom tracks into prefab. However, you can directly click on the road points created tool main road, because here I'm on the example scene just to show you. And you have the inspector, you have prefab, and you have select. You can do select and boom, instantly gets the prefab of the object we need. So I will do as we say, drag and drop it here, because I want to have something I can understand and find back. I will call this wall left, because I want this wall to be the wall on the left. I'm actually going to draw a wall here. So wall left, let's call it wall left. It's magnificent. Boom. Yes, change a little. I've set this as static because it's not going to change, so it's better if it's static. There you go. I have selected my PTK road points creator tool, wall left. Let's follow the wiki again. We don't want this to be an AR path. We want this to generate some meshes, so enable. We have 3 types that is now displayed because we enabled generation of the mesh. It's not in the same order on the wiki and here, but they are the same fields. It's just not the same order, so I'm going to do the order I'm actually watching here in the video on my screen. So mesh type is either wall left or wall right. So this is what you want this wall to be considered as. So wall left, you will consider it as a wall on the left side of the road, and the wall right, you will consider it as a wall on the right side of the road. Globally, just know that this mesh you will create has only one side that will collide. So on the wall left, you will actually create a wall that only blocks things that comes from the right. If some other things come from, if some players come from the left, it won't matter. So globally, it's something that that will make you not be able to get off the road without removing the fact you can get on the road. So as I just said, wall left means the collider is on the right side, and wall right, the collider is on the left side of the points. This is a part a bit tricky, but you will be able to debug it, to just see how it works in a few minutes. New points height, it means that every time you create a new point, the height of the mesh that will be created is this value, and the collider layer is the layer you want this mesh to be. So wall collider is probably the more logical, because you want, when player hits this wall, you probably want them to lose some reserves, so wall collider. If you don't want, because you consider the wall as invisible and you just don't want to penalize people for hitting an invisible wall, you can put it in a ground collider. And finally, if you think this is somewhere nobody should go, you can set it at wall collider always respawn, so any player that will hit the collider will actually respawn. So on my side, I just want the wall collider. I'm not even going to test this because I know it works. I've tested it just before doing this video. And there you go. This part is done. Let's continue into the wiki and go into start creating mesh. To create spline points, click on create edit source points, and then click on the screen with the left mouse click to create some points. It's exactly as you do for the main road, but you don't want to put it in the center of the road. Here, as I created, and I can click on the different parts of the road, and as you can see, I have a wall that is being created. I'm just going to stop here because I don't need any more, because I just want to show you. There you go. Finishing, continue the wiki, and stop creating points. Creating points in hierarchy, which is optional. Yes, because you can select the points itself. So for example, here you have all the source points that will be used for creating your mesh, your wall. I can duplicate it, so right click or duplicate, or I can do Control D, it duplicates it, and then I'll move it, boom, and there you go. I have another point that has been created that I can move manually. Since duplicate will actually make it at the end of this list, you can, for example, say, okay, I want this one, but I want to duplicate here. So I can duplicate it, but it's at the end. So it's going to have this smooth thing, but I can put it here, for example. I think it was here. No, it wasn't. Here, and boom. And I created the thing here. If I do this, for example, to show you, boom. The order is mandatory. I've deleted it, and if I do up, there you go. Just clicking on the sphere if it doesn't update. There you go. This is the optional part you can create manually if you want. This is useful, for example, if you have some places you want to put the wall, but you actually don't have any collider. So you can create a new point and just put it into the void. Because if you want to click, you need a collider to click. Next part, editing point. Yes, because as you can see, this is a bit low. So maybe in some situation it could jump above. So I'm going to select this point, for example, and say, okay, I want this wall at this part of the track to be 50 and not 7. And boom, I have a big thing, a big wall. Let's see this one. I think this one shouldn't be as high, but I want it to be quite high, so I'm going to 40. And then I can do this for anything I want. And boom, I can put everything I need. And this is the end of the wiki page, so the documentation. However, this won't work in game. So this was actually why I didn't create a video at first, because we didn't understand why this wasn't working. In fact, we discovered that the PTK road points creator tool is not meant to stay in the when playing the track, which is logical. However, it disables itself when the match starts. The match, so when the track starts, and this is why it doesn't work, because when this tool, this creator tool you don't need while playing the map, is disabled, it actually disables its children, and the mesh is one of its children. So this is why the mesh disappears and just doesn't exist when you go into the game. So just take it from the generated mesh, drag and drop it somewhere else, and you'll have your wall working. Since it's a wall generated wall mesh, maybe you want more than one, you can either filter them by categorize them by putting them in folders, or you can simply go into the mod track variant. You have extra colliders, wall colliders. I will move my generate rule mesh into wall colliders, and I will rename it into wall mesh wall left. So there I have my wall working properly. I'm going to put it static because static is better if it doesn't if it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't move. Sorry. And there you go. I have my wall, but just know that if you leave it like this, it's going to be a big green wall displayed in the game. You probably don't want this. So what you want to do, you could just remove the mesh collider here like this, but we don't want to do the mesh collider, the mesh renderer, sorry, like this. But we don't want to do this because we want to be able to see it in the editor when you are doing your things. So select the wall left, add component, you look for hide here, and you have PTK hide mesh renderer in play mode. Add it, and there you go. The mesh renderer, so the display of the big green wall, will actually not be displayed. However, the collider will still exist. So the collider will work. It will block players from passing the wall, but it will not be displayed as green. So this is the end of the video. However, I'm just going to show you something. So I'm going to remove this mesh just to show you something else. Boom. As you can see, it updated the wall back because I've clicked on the sphere. And I just wanted to show you, I forgot to show you before, so that's why I'm doing it now. If you see nothing, you see no walls like this, for example, it's because you messed up your mesh type. It probably is the other way around, sorry. As I mentioned at the beginning, the wall will actually block only one side of itself. So here, since we have a E wall right, it will block the left side of the wall. This part, which is not green on your screen, will actually not block anything. So this is why you want to be sure this is correct and you can see this green. So there you go. This anything that comes from here and jumps into will be able to. Anything coming from here and trying to jump against there will not. So there you go. This is how you create the walls using the road points creator tool. I hope you have a lot of fun with it, and in the future I will try to cover and create some tutorial for all the other stuff and awesome features we now have in the SDK. Hope you have a good day, a good evening, a good night, or a good something, and don't forget to play some Karters too. Goodbye.